I have no,
Gavel?
Oh, you need another pen?
Gavel. What? It's his personal gavel? It's his personal gavel? Where's the gavel?
Oh, it only comes out for him?
yeah, I guess so. It's like Thor, it only works, you can only make the lifting.
It's like Excalibur.
Jen, are you ready? Jen, are you ready?
Can you hear me?
Now I can. All right. I'd like to take a motion to close executive session and open up the regular public meeting. Trustee O'Donnell, second Trustee Cassell, all in favor? Great. Welcome, everybody, to our regular scheduled meeting of the Board of Trustees, February 9th, 2016. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then a prayer from Trustee Flynn, and then we'll get to appointments and courtesy of the floor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A prayer.
In Dobbs Ferry, we're blessed to have many residents who selflessly give up their time to make this village such a great place. I'd like to dedicate tonight's prayer to one of those people, Judy Blackwell Conowich, who lost the battle to cancer on January 29th. Judy was one of the founders of the Dobbs Ferry Schools Foundation, and even when her health was failing, she worked tirelessly to create opportunities for our children. Judy, we miss you, and God bless you. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Bill. That was great. Thank you very much. Well, welcome, everybody, and full house tonight, and some great things that we have going on here this evening in Dobbs Ferry. First, I'd like to start with a new appointment for the Dobbs Ferry Police Department. Chief Gilardi has recommended Police Officer Justin Kampke for the Youth Officer, Community Affairs Officer within the Police Department. Justin's been with the Police Department since 2003, excuse me. Since that time, he has proven to be an extremely effective youth officer. I'm sure many of you, if you have children in our community, have seen Justin around at the schools, car seats, you name it. He really has gone out of his way to really take on a role without actually having the title, and has really helped out our community. He's worked tirelessly attempting to attain this appointment and is well deserving of the position. Justin works closely with the Youth Services Council, all of our schools, churches, senior citizens groups, camps, and just about everyone else. Justin is loyal, enthusiastic, hardworking, energetic, and a team player that makes everybody look good. Justin was born and raised here in Dobbs Ferry, where he continues to reside with his wife Zara and his son Griffin. His mom, dad, grandparents, and extended family reside here as well. In light of his consistent dedication and commitment to the Dobbs Ferry Police Department, I respectfully request that Police Officer Justin Kampke be appointed to the position of Youth Officer, Community Affairs Officer, effective at the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees on February 9th, 2016, to take effect February 10th, 2016, at an annual salary of $118,644. And that is recommended by Chief Gilardi. And Justin, I'd like to come up to the microphone, if you would.
We'll take a motion.
Sorry. A motion to appoint Justin to the Youth Officer, Community Affairs Officer. Trustee O'Donnell? Trustee Rosillo? All in favor? Congratulations, Justin.
So we got ambulance corps members here to take care of Justin.
Congratulations.
Turn it on.
Now it's on.
There it goes.
No.
Talk loud.
Hello. Thank you. You guys can say it's going to be a real long day. I'm all I can. I'm greatly humbled and honored to be appointed to this position. I would like to offer my sincerest gratitude to Chief Gilardi, Mayor Connect, the Board of Trustees for this privilege of becoming Dobbs Community Affairs and Youth Officer. I definitely could not have done this on my own. It was with great support and encouragement of numerous people. First, my parents and my family, my grandmother, my grandfather, my sister, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, everybody that's supporting me here tonight, being great role models that have helped me and inspired me to get here. A wonderful mother and father who taught us to be good, kind person, who raised us to work hard and value things that are important. Family, true friends, and the community. This is as much about you as it is about me. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I especially like to thank all the supervisors, detectives, colleagues from the Youth Officers Association, Westchester Youth Police Academy, that I've worked with over the years. All of you have taken large amounts of their time to give me advice, whether I ask for it or not, answering my limitless questions, and for taking an interest in this officer. I'm sure I wouldn't be promoted today without their hard work and their good graces. I want to thank everybody from the Dobbs School District, Principal Drake, Principal Felino, Principal Mussolini, the athletic department from Dobbs from Mercy College, the security department, Caesar, Charlie, the PACT office, housing, residential life, the master school, Children's Village, everybody that worked with me over the years. I look forward to continue working together to foster a positive and safe community for the youth of Dobbs and their families. Second page, it's almost over. All the members of the Youth Service Council, Trustee Rosillo, Lisa Bai, all the kids that continually work hard to make Dobbs a safe and fun place. All my cadets from my internship program from 2009, Joe Giuliani, Allison White, all those people that we work together, work hard, you always keep me young and energetic. Thank you for showing up tonight. I also want to just thank all the officers here from Dobbs Ferry Police, from all over the county to come here, all the youth officers that came in and supported me. I'd just like to also thank the chief of the police, the original youth officer that paved the way, Officer Schluck, Officer Elman, Sergeant Marty Coster. Thank you. Finally, I'd like to thank my beautiful wife and son for putting up with my hectic and unpredictable schedule. They are my inspiration to continue to try and make this world a better place, one job, one day, and one person at a time. I'm very fortunate in my life to be able to work for something that I'm passionate about. Every day brings a new opportunity for learning along with new obstacles. As a Dobbs Ferry Community Affairs Officer and Youth Officer, I want to play an active role in making my community, our village, a safer place, a better place to raise our children, run our businesses, and forge a future filled with unlimited promises. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you, Justin. Great job. And once again, extremely well-deserved. So good luck with the new position. I know you've done a fantastic job filling that role for quite a while now, and I'm glad you finally got the official title, so it's fantastic. All right, great. We have no public hearings tonight, so we can go to courtesy of the floor. Now, just a couple of things before we start with courtesy of the floor. As everybody knows, we have a public hearing on Thursday night this week for 75 Main Street specifically. So if you're here to speak about that, we are holding a special session just for that on Thursday night. I assume there's residents here from 191 Broadway. Can I see a show of hands, please? Great. All right, so, great. You know, we're well aware of what the issues are up there. You know, I think everybody is well aware also that the spirit of what was done was to relieve certain streets, obviously, of out-of-town commuter parking that was taking up residential parking in the same process. One good deed, bad residual side effect, is affecting you guys up there. We did discuss this earlier, and we discussed it with the chief also. We are exploring options. We have not enforced the law over on Hatch Terrace yet.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's okay. That's the right suggestion right now.
Give him a little shoe, Donnie.
It's good to see so many people turn out for something positive, though.
Right? So that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Okay, great. So we did discuss this with the chief earlier also, where, we haven't put into effect any enforcement on Hatch Terrace so far, and we do not plan to until we come up with another plan that's going to be viable, that's going to satisfy, your group and just the surrounding area. So we are looking into options. Hopefully by our next meeting or before then, we'll have a more detailed plan for you to review. We'd love to hear your thoughts. I don't think everybody needs to get up and say the same thing. We know the issue. But I think if you have, actual ideas that you think would work for that area, please email the board, email the interim village administrator, so we can review those with the traffic committee and other departments to see what would be the most viable answer. So I will take some comment now also, but I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware that we are working on this, and it's not forgotten by any means. So with that, please keep your comments to 3 minutes, and
Good evening.
yeah, can you see if you put that switch on?
Yeah, it's kind of set. There
It's
it
on.
goes. There you go.
Thank you.
Shall we go and bring them back in so we can do it over again?
I know.
Well, thank you for, exploring that.
Name and address, please. I'm
My
sorry.
name is Laura Hall. I live at 191 Broadway, in apartment 5C. And last month, we expressed our concerns to the board. I sent a few emails to Liz Draper and also to the mayor regarding that we would be here tonight. One of the things that the mayor had asked me the last time we were here is how many units are in our building at 191 Broadway. We have 66 units in our building. In our basement, where there is parking available for some tenants, it's a long waiting list.
How many spots are down there?
There's 13 single spaces
That's what I
and
thought.
then 8 double spaces. So there's a total of 29. But it gets a little complicated because it has to be, if you're a single person like myself that lives in the building, it would probably take 20 years to get a spot. We have families in our building with infants. There's a family that has 4 children. She just had a baby. And she can't get a permit. Okay, so what does she do? She has to bundle the baby up, dress the kids, drag them downstairs because she's only 4 hours parking limit, and then move the car. We have elderly people in our building, as I mentioned the last time I was here, people that work from home. They get involved in whatever they're doing. Next thing you know, they have a $50 ticket on their car because they forgot to move it. We have commuters that live in our building that walk to the train station and leave their cars parked. Where now on a Monday they can't park anywhere. There's literally no place to park. And it's also difficult during the week to park. So not being able to park in the designated public off-street parking with a permit is a hardship to our quality of life where we live. If the permit pilot program was created to keep the non-residents out, the commuters and the train passengers out of the local neighborhoods, then why, obviously are you keeping the local residents out of the neighborhood? So anyway, we actually reviewed the interpretation of the law, we reviewed the law that was set forth by the New York State 1640 and the law 2015, I don't know what this is, chapter 329 or 3, that New York State allowed the village board of the Village of Dobbs Ferry to adopt a parking permit system on the specified streets, which, you know, is all listed, and we have that here. I'm sure you guys have all reviewed it. And basically, the last time we approached here, we were told that New York State was the one that said you have to live on a street that's designated with a permit. That's not how we interpret this law. It basically says anyone can purchase a permit. It says, it doesn't say that we limit people that with households, that you can only have 2 permits. We have a guy that lives on Walnut, which is not my concern at all, but it is a concern for another resident. He doesn't have a driveway. He owns the house. He's got his wife and him and 2 kids, teenagers, that have cars. Where do they park? He can only have 2 permits. The elderly gentleman that stood here last week, the last meeting, and said, you know, I downsized my house, I have an apartment on Main Street, I always park on Oak, but now I can't park there. Like, what do these people do? One of my suggestions would be from Livingston to Cedar, west side of Broadway, and all the way down to the river. You're welcome to get a permit and find parking. That's what we do. We live here. We're residents. Maybe that's an option, I don't know.
And that's something that we'll look at also. That was one of the options that we were discussing.
Yeah, but, you know, that would be a suggestion that I would have. I have fellow residents that live in our building, and maybe they have something else. But
Can I
thank you.
ask a question? Because I often walk up and down the aqueduct, and it seems like there's lots of asphalt parking, potential parking behind the building. Is that, am I
It's not
wrong?
available to, and it's not available to us, it's a New York State building. And you mean on the aqueduct?
No, not on the aqueduct, but behind 191. There's like, between 191 and the grassy area of the aqueduct, it looks like there's a bunch of asphalt area there. No? No? Maybe I'm in the wrong place. Yeah. No?
Yeah, there's the grassy lot you might be, is that what you're thinking of?
Wooded lot, and there's a yard for the super, and I understood that once they.
Well, you want to hold your comments until you come on up.
We need you to come up to the mic so other people can hear you.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll let her.
That's fine. Thank you very much.
It's only a 1 second thing.
Gotta say your name too.
My name is Allison Pearson. I live in apartment 1E and 191 Broadway, and I've lived there for 23 years. And this parking issue, I understand that many years ago, the lot behind our building was offered to the town for parking, and the town refused for $1. And so they've just maintained these woods, from what I understand. I mean, it would be great if we had parking there, but there's no paved area.
Do we know? So the building still owns it?
Is it
Yes.
still available?
Well, actually, no. This was, the owner's grandfather owned it when this was offered to you guys, from what I understand.
Okay.
But, I mean, they offered it, and the parking has been the worst thing of my life.
Right.
Like on Sunday nights, I always had to be home at 3 o'clock and be parked on Hatch to be able to, I was like sequestered, you know, I worked in Manhattan and you have to be there. And you know what I did because of this law? I took my car off the road. I just got my car back on the road, I took it off the road because I have nowhere to put my car.
Has anybody talked to the owner about that old spot there?
It's grass, it's.
And it's a hill.
It's a.
I mean, it's a slope like this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at any possibility here to help you
No,
folks,
we're not,
okay?
yeah, there's no way you can park there,
Okay, thank you,
especially steep slope and all that, forget it. It's not available.
thank you.
Hi, I'm Jerry Mooney. I live at 191 Broadway, apartment 4L. We circulated a petition after the last board meeting to maybe get some unified message across to the board. It says the undersigned residents of 191 Broadway, Dobbs Ferry, petition the Village of Dobbs Ferry Board of Trustees to reconsider the implemented pilot parking program and grant resident parking permits for the designated Hatch Terrace and neighboring off-street parking to the residents of Sussex Hall. I have 57 signatures on this. from a building of 66 units.
Excuse me, Jerry?
Yes.
I like the sign.
I have 57.
One more.
But I also wanted to ask a question, because at the last meeting when Laura was speaking, someone and it might have been you, made a comment that you thought we had options for parking around 191.
No.
And somebody, in any case, somebody made this comment, and I had to stop and think about that, because if the notion that we have options for parking was part of your deliberations, and what you're talking about is an asphalt patch behind the building, that doesn't exist, and I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Fine.
But there are no options. What you've done is, and I don't understand why this is the case, but in a move to limit the parking of people coming from out of town and parking on the street, you're limiting the parking times of residents, which doesn't really make sense to me. Also, as Laura was saying, the way we read the law is that it's the village's option as to who to issue stickers to. It's not something that, we were told last time that the state mandated that you could only issue stickers to people living on certain streets. But the way the law reads to us is that it's not the street you live on, it's the street you need to park on. And so that it's the village's call as to limiting the sale of the parking stickers. I'm not
Darius
sure
was
about-
looking, Darius was looking into it. We didn't-
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there may be some confusion on that. We did indicate that the state allowed only the parking limit on certain streets. We did contact, and I think I talked about this last time, NICOM about this, New York Conference of Mayors. They have a general counsel's office that assists resident villages that are part of the program. They indicated, and again, we went through the law, word for word, and we went through other municipalities' laws. None of them seem to indicate what streets can actually get the permits, as opposed to what streets are limited to be parked on. Their opinion was, or the spirit was, to just have it on those streets, but we have been discussing that too, as a possibility to expand the area, just as you're proposing, to allow other streets potentially, or if you border a street, if you touch one of the streets, different
options.
permutations and combinations are being considered. We hear you, we get it, you need a place to park, and I think the board is gonna come up with a solution, and we wanna work with you to get that.
And what we did,
Yeah.
what we didn't want to happen also, just as we thought we were doing a good thing for a number of residents, had a bad effect for a large group of people, we do not want to make the same mistake again, meaning whatever we decide to open up, or if we open up, or how we manage that, we want to make sure that the residual effect, we're going to be able to control and make it good for everybody. So it is being looked at, and
Is there any other ideas other than yours, to allow, did you email that proposal to us?
I have not.
yeah, if you
Okay,
could,
so
that'd
we
be
can consider
fantastic,
that,
actually.
considering corners of streets, certain areas that are potential, we gotta just look at the impact that does on other things, but I think trustee Golio indicated that we're not gonna summon you now, so you do have a place to park. No one is trying to make this life difficult for you at 191, we wanna help you.
Great, thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Hi, I'm Ben Himmelfarb. I live at 191 Broadway, apartment 6K, and I'll keep it brief. I live across the hall from Bradley Bulkey, and I'm working on getting into his will, like he'll will me his parking spot.
I want to.
Maybe he promises it to everyone. But he was talking about his involvement with the parking commission, and obviously he has a sense of the history of decisions that have been made. And it seems to me like there are some sort of inventive ideas about opening up parking on the other side of Broadway, looking at changing the landscape of Broadway there, especially from a pedestrian point of view. If you walk on the Aqueduct Trail, you know that people blow through there at 50 miles an hour. They do not honor the state law to yield to pedestrians all the time. I understand you can't force people to do that, but
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Oh,
well,
tickets.
yeah, but not there all the time. But it's not just the parking spaces. So if there's a more holistic answer to this, I think it would be a good idea to look at, like, so you don't accidentally create another problem and another problem and another problem. And my last comment is that if there could be, and this is on us as well as residents to seek the information, but if there could be more of an effort to make this information available to residents. I understand notices were posted in the enterprise, right? Not everyone gets the enterprise, not everyone necessarily looks at the enterprise. Whether that's through a building representative who's on the parking committee, you know, something like that, just an effort at transparency so that
You should also sign up for the mayor's newsletter, which you can do on the site also, because a lot of this information was in that,
It was in
also as it was going on.
too,
So maybe like you're saying, if you appoint someone kind of to be the kind of representative to make sure you're on the mayor's news to keep everybody else informed.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
That's good comments, thank you.
I should mention.
Yes, Patty?
That's a Patty's number.
Patty's gonna say safe schools.
Safer.
Well, I brought this hat tonight. I've got a lot of different hats. And one of the hats I've been wearing is working with Donna with Safe Routes to School. Another hat is the chair of the Chamber of Commerce Parking Committee. And we're looking at a bunch of different things. And one of the ideas that we did study was we've got two long strips on Broadway, one that's right down in that section, where there is no parking, and it's a very wide stretch of asphalt. And when you get that, as you mentioned, when you get wide stretches of asphalt, people drive faster. So one of the things we're looking at for the Safe Routes to School is to reduce the lanes to one lane each direction, which should give us a bunch of room, which I think could really help if we make that be parking. Not, you know, Hastings painted it shut, but I think we need parking. So I think that's our way of accomplishing that and doing a lot for this. I think if we can get that idea of crossover of information, if you guys can get involved with some of the stuff we're doing. I mentioned I think our Safe Routes to School started with South Presbyterian.
Yep.
There's a committee on that. So this is a holistic effort to make the village safer, to make it an easier place to live, and to, if anything, reduce our use of automobiles, not by not having a place to put them, but being able to not have to drive around for 15, 20 minutes to try and find a space. That's ridiculous. So I think there are some places here we'd love to get more people involved in what we're trying to do. So,
Great,
thanks.
thank you.
Yep.
I'll keep it short and sweet, I promise you. Hey, back here, my wife. Most of you know me. My name is John Tashi. I live on 191 Broadway. For 9 years, I was the superintendent of 191 Broadway. And I can tell you that there are 15 spots in the garage, 3 of which are used by management. So these people do need a spot. There's no doubt about that. So I'm here to support them for that, but that's enough. They say what they have to say. I believe you're gonna handle this, but I have one other issue, and I want you to consider. We have a lot of active volunteers in the area. We are already stressed for manpower. If we have to walk that extra block or two to go get our car, especially in the middle of the night, you're really gonna hinder response times. If somebody responds at all, that can happen here on Cedar Street. So I think we are no better than anybody else. We have to obey the laws just like everybody else. We stress that. But I think we need some sort of understanding for the volunteers as well who live in these areas. Maybe some sort of exemption. Granted, if the vehicle's registered in their name and they are members in good standing. I think that's very important to think about that because we do have people in the building that volunteer, especially the EMS is extremely important. Usually when somebody dials 911 for an ambulance, it's not a false alarm. They really, if it's not for the police showing up on, first. And we're already stressed for manpower, so I'm here to support them first and foremost, but I believe that we also need to look at that issue. We have a lot of volunteers at Park, so, okay?
Thank you.
We're already stressed for time.
Thank you.
Before you step away, me being the crazy creative guy, is there enough height? The parking spaces are in the building, is that correct? Before I misspeak again.
There's 15, correct.
There are 15. Is there enough height in that parking area to potentially put tandem?
No, not at
lift
all,
in.
not at all, because
No.
there's only, going in, there's only 10-6 when you pull into the garage. Remember, this building was built in
Forget it.
1929.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
trying.
No, not at all, not at all. And plus, they pay, this is not a free spot, tenants do pay their park.
Right, no,
So-
I
No,
understand that.
believe me, management would have done that years ago if that was the case, that would have been a moneymaker. So, great idea, but it works in Manhattan, I don't think.
Worth a
Thanks for your
shot.
time.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, John.
Anybody else?
With the,
Go, Tom.
All right. I'll be very short too.
3 minutes.
No, I'm gonna have one, hopefully. Tom Patrick, 191 Broadway, 2E, yeah. I'm a telecommuter. I work for a Palo Alto company. So right now, it's still working hours for me. But I'm kind of the future. Everybody's telecommuting now. All I need is FiOS and a phone, and I can work anywhere. So to have to leave a teleconference in the middle of the day, go move my car or something, isn't gonna work for somebody like me. So I encourage you to think to the future of Dobbsbury too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lauren Keenan, also at 191 Broadway. I've been there for about 8 months. And I actually work in a hospital, so I have unusual hours at times. I will have to sometimes work on the weekend, and usually Monday is my day off. Monday, my day off, is also the worst time for parking because the parking is extremely limited on Mondays.
Yes.
And it's like the day off, I end up, if I had to move it as frequently as I would not have a day off, essentially. I'd be moving my car all over the town instead of having an actual day off. Where I went to graduate school in Madison, Wisconsin, one thing that they did was they had zones of residential parking. So they would have certain like zones of streets where if you had a certain color ticket, you could park anywhere within that zone. And then if you had a different color, you could park anywhere with another zone. And I think that would actually alleviate the problem quite nicely because right now, as it stands, we kind of had it figured out. And if the zone just kind of covered our area, it wouldn't really be too much of an issue. So that's just my thought.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
I'm gonna give it a shot here, guys. Diana Zulo, 191 Broadway, apartment 5D. Just a thought, maybe not a good one, but Hatch Terrace comes up and around. And not only do we have a problem with the parking there, but the people coming down on Walnut, going to the train station, okay? Speed like demons down there. So, it's I don't know if there's something else that we can do also there for that crossing on the aqueduct. I walk my dog, Laura walks her dog, a bunch of us walk our dogs there. They come flying down there. I know I've almost gotten hit a couple of times. A possible crosswalk or some blinking light like they have over in the other part of town. That's one. The other thing that I was thinking about, and I've always said it and I don't know if it's possible that you can do it or not. I'm not an architect, I don't know any details or anything, but as you come up Hatch Terrace, if there's a way that we can park on one side of the street as pull-in parking and not parallel parking, I think would alleviate a lot of the parking stress there. Like I said, I don't know if that's possible, if it's something that's doable, but it's something that could be a thought. Like coming up the street on the left-hand side, because there's only one driveway there. It's all basically a big, huge thing. All head-on parking coming up the street. And then on the same side of the building that we are in, pull-in parking that way, because you can't park on the other side of the street. But I don't know as far as it being too narrow if that's possible, but it could be a thought.
Good.
Because we can't put lines on the street, you know, for actual parallel parking, because it would take up, you'd lose spaces where we can actually squeeze in here or there, and you know, you got a bigger car, smaller car, you'll squeeze it in there, but forward pull-in parking might alleviate some of that need for a spot, along with what I believe, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Lauren suggested about the zone, about us having a zone for this area. If we have a specific color, then we can park there. I am sometimes off on Mondays. Yesterday was a horror to try to find a spot. I had 2 cars to park. I had to park all the way up by the synagogue on Broadway and walk 3 blocks to get to my car yesterday. So it was not a really good situation.
Okay, great, thank you.
Sorry, I hope maybe it's a thought.
I just wanted to touch on, I work in the city, I'm a fireman, I work 24-hour shifts. And for my wife to have to go out with my year-and-a-half-old son to arbitrarily move the car from one street to another spot when there's no service provided, like a street sweep or a plow coming through, seems a little silly to me, you know? I mean, I know you guys are aware of that, I know we're just going on and on about it. Something I noticed, now that all the other streets have been part of the parking program, the commuters, I don't know if you guys have noticed, have bottlenecked up to Broadway. So I think I speak for my neighbors when I say that we all park in front of our own building. I mean, we only park on, say, Hatch Terrace when there's no parking in front of our building. But now it's kind of taken over in front of our building. So, and there's also about 6 or 7 spots on the north side of the building on Hatch Terrace that's alongside the property of our building. That's not in front of a private residence. That I thought, you know, is something to consider as part of, you know, non-residential, non-commuter parking, you know. So we were just requesting, you know, to be part of the sticker program, if you guys don't mind. All right. Thanks.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
Hi, I'm Raquel Spitzer. I live on 73 Main Street. I'm wondering why Main Street was excluded from this permit situation. When I went to the police, they told me that I would have to pay $100, what was it?
Central Business District.
115, yeah, so blue meters and behind the station and the other on Cedar. I'm just wondering why Main Street was excluded and if anything can be considered for that.
That was you kind of
Yeah,
touched on that, but
that's the law. The state did not allow Main Street to be included in the zone.
I'm on the corner of Chestnut, you know.
That's something that we're, so if you're on Main Street with the Main Street, so Main Street itself, that could not be within the zone. Question is, could someone that lives on Main Street, let's say on a corner, potentially be someone who can get a permit? I think that's something that the board is considering. 191 borders Hatch. You may border Walnut, I think you said, or Chestnut, excuse me. That's something I think the board is considering to do. Our properties that border, that actually touch where the zone, it is something that I think the board will consider. We have to look at the impact of that a little more closely. But that's something, so Main Street could not be in the zone, but potentially people that live on Main Street on corners could be.
And while this is being worked out, we're continuing to be ticketed if we do exceed the time limit. So I think that's something we should also have for that. Maybe
No, that you're not being ticketed.
Yeah, I've gotten several tickets already.
Maybe not for that. In the Central Business District, permits are available to Main Street and Cedar Street, and Chestnut, people that live on the other side streets that aren't eligible.
It is expensive.
It's $125, I think?
It's not
$115.
$115.
For the year.
It's not a $25
Correct.
permit. That's being allowed for everybody else.
I have a question though. I'm sorry. So somebody like her that doesn't have a business but lives on Main Street, why does she have to buy a central business parking permit for $100 and whatever dollars?
To be able to park.
But she's not a business. So you it's a double standard.
No, central business. Central business parking in the business district is not a business buying a permit to park there.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I know I used to live on Main Street. I used to have to buy a central business parking sticker so I wouldn't get a ticket. And that was as a resident, no business. And that's what those were designed for.
That would allow you to park at a meter or in the parking lots with the meters without feeding the meter. So in essence, you would be buying a central business district permit for a year for $115, and you would not have to put money in the meter for the entire year. You wouldn't have to move your car if you lived or worked within the central business district.
So now if you're parking on Main Street at a meter, then aren't you taking away spaces of people that could be possibly
Well, there's
shopping?
certain meters, they're blue meters.
Blue meters.
Either parking lot, you can park with the central business district permit, or at a blue meter in the central business district.
How many blue meters are there?
There are, I believe there are 175 spaces in the business district that fall under central business district. So there might be 55 meters in addition to the 2 parking lots.
Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Michael Morano. I live at 191 Broadway with everybody else there. I'd like to future ideas of changing the landscape and changing the way parking's done. That's all great, but seriously upsetting the people that live here to the point where some of us are in tears, taking our cars off the road. How can we have alternate street when there is no alternate street? Further up on Broadway, the other apartment building has the other side of Broadway. So they just simply, from Monday to Tuesday, alternate their cars. We have no option. A hatch was the only option. And now there's none. So basically, if, what built this town, what built New York, the idea of commuting, if you're a commuter and you live in the building, you can't just simply park the car there all week and ride the train, because now you have no place to put your car. And on top of all the other issues, pedestrian issues is a huge thing where we live. Somebody's gonna get run over, and it's probably gonna be a child. I don't understand why you can't just put 2 police officers clocking people. Most of these people are out-of-towners that blow through there. They're not aware of the crosswalk. Same thing with that blind hill. You come over the hill, people are trying to walk their dogs, somebody's gonna get killed.
Even commuting.
This is, ideas of the future, believe me, it's great, but we got some serious problems like right now. And I think this law was an oversight with you went from weekly parking to hourly parking. And, you gotta put something in place, but until you have something that works, please just take it back, repeal it, please.
Oh, and we,
There's nothing forcing it now, that's all.
Yeah, thank you.
There's literally no place to park.
No, thank you.
okay.
Okay, anybody else? All right, well. Okay, well, is anybody else on 191? Okay. I don't think he saw you behind.
John Enright, 191 Broadway. Just coming down here, walking down, I think it was a smart thing to walk to the meetings and try to find a spot. It was just going down Hatch from Broadway all the way down the bottom of the hill. There's basically 6 buildings, there's 6 homes. And they all have driveways and garages, etc. So removing the people from out of town from parking in the area, that's great. But you take those people out and those people that are in their garages, then there's nobody on there. If Broadway has 66 units, and in need of parking as they do, not to try to get permits for these people is absurd, but thank you.
Thank you, John.
Hi, I'm Liz Martin on 191 Broadway. My only question is, if the point is not to have the commuters parking and clogging up all the parking in the neighborhood, then why not allow the people who live here, if we prove residency, get the stickers? I mean, I don't know what the big issue is.
Well, you did also have.
Some people not allowed and some people are allowed, and the people on Hatch Terrace all have driveways, like he was just saying, so, I mean, I don't understand what the confusion is.
It wasn't just out-of-towners, though, also. There were other residents of Dobbs Ferry that could show that they are a resident, get a sticker, and still park on the side street and go to the train. That's what we were trying to eliminate.
Okay, well, like somebody else mentioned, they are clogging up along Broadway.
Understood.
now, And that eliminates all our parking spots,
Yep.
so that point is eliminated.
Thank you.
I have a 1-sentence question. Clarify question.
Come on up.
Ben Hill, if I were just on the record, if we park on Hatch Terrace at a time for more than 4 hours right now, we are not going to get a ticket.
That's what we said.
Correct.
That's what we said.
Correct.
That's what we said, yes.
We have not been issuing summonses since a week ago Wednesday, because, believe it or not, somebody's taking all the signs down. So we were not able to.
Someone mentioned my description.
Do I see a few guilty faces here?
It's happened.
Yeah,
We're
we
taking
don't want to
signs
do
down, so
that.
we have not, until the permanent signs go up. We also thought, in all fairness, we would issue the Central Business District parking permits on February, they expire on February 14th, so that would be the day, February 15th, that whatever that week is, after Monday is a holiday, the 16th. It certainly wouldn't be before the 16th.
When you do decide to start, can that be someone go on top of City Hall with a bullhorn?
Well, if you park on Hatch, I'm sure you had a flyer on your car at
Yeah.
some point, because we
Yep.
flyered cars for 2 weeks.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
we will put another flyer out before we begin issuing signs.
Okay.
Great, thank you. All right, thank you. So honestly, we're listening. We want to figure this out just as much as you do. So please send us emails on specific ideas that you have. That'd be very helpful.
Send the email too.
You can send it to the Board of Trustees. All our emails are listed on the website.
I sent an email to Liz.
Yeah.
Liz Draper would be the best
She
point
forwards
person,
them on to us.
and she would
We
send
get
them on to us anyway.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, courtesy, the floor is still open, so anybody on any other issues?
Marie McKellar, 3 Rivercrest. Among other things, I am chair of the Dobbs Ferry Waterfront Parking Committee that has been appointed. And on November 16th, we made a recommendation to the board that Dobbs Ferry would allow on a temporary basis, only for 2016, that all unmarked parking spots at the waterfront be available for free 4-hour weekend parking, just weekend parking, but all spaces to be available. And the reason was the following: there is talk of putting meters or a kiosk system down there, but when we informally checked on the cost of the kiosk system, we thought it's rather expensive and they break down, and until we get more information, why spend the money for a kiosk system until we know if many people are going to use it? So we thought we should informally monitor this summer to see how it works out, because we don't want to spend a lot of money with a lot of red tape until we know whether it's really going to bring in any revenue. It may end up to cost more than the revenue it would bring in, so we should have some data. Neighboring villages have free parking, such as Irvington and Terrytown and Ardsley. So if people say, oh, we're going to charge here, that they're just going to go to the neighboring villages. So if we put in the meters first, people are going to go elsewhere, so you put in the system that may not work. Until we do more monitoring, we aren't going to know. So we thought we should, and third, we should let people get used to using the park. If they get used to using it and like it, then maybe they'll be willing to pay a small fee later. And by a small fee, we mean a kiosk system that would be equivalent to the Dobbs Ferry parking meters downtown. Same fee, not some exorbitant fee. Because when fees were put in the past, no one paid it. So you can post all you want, but if no one's going to pay it, it doesn't make any difference. At a previous meeting, the fourth thing was, we came to a compromise to allow 20 spaces for free parking on weekends for people without permits. The problem is, these are not used. Not many people go on weekends anyway now, especially in the winter. But even though there are 20 free spaces, people don't know about them. And so a few people come in without permits. They park anywhere because they don't know where they're supposed to park. And there's several signs at the entry to the park and the different places in the park that say, permit parking only, $30 fine if you park without a permit. I actually happened to be there on a Saturday morning where 2 longtime Dobbs Ferry residents came down to meet me. We were going to join, just have a meeting. And I ran into one, and she was driving out of the park. And I said, where are you going? And she said, I don't have a permit, so I can't park here. I'm not going to pay $30. I could not convince her that it was legal to park there in the spots until I said I would definitely pay a $30 parking fee if you get one. But both of these residents were they're longtime residents, and they did not have permits and did not think they could park there. So no one knows because the signs are contradictory. And our current rules sort of reek of NIMBY. I know it's unintended, but that's the impression we're getting of other places. So I'm simply asking the board to consider our recommendation that we made in November 16th. This is temporary only. If it's abused or if there are problems, we're not saying you're making a policy to last forever. This is just to try it out, that we do informal monitoring for the summer, see how it works out, see whether it's worth putting in a kiosk system. And if it doesn't work, you can rescind it. And in any case, our committee would like to work with the board to make the waterfront park signs up to date and not contradictory as they are now. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marie.
Anybody else? One more. Nicole?
Hello, Nicole Sullivan, 204 Ashford Avenue. I sent an email about this issue last week, but I just wanted to come and put it on the record because I didn't receive any response, so I want to make sure everybody's aware. Since the traffic light's been put on, we've had difficulty getting in and out of our driveway during rush hour in the morning and the evening. My sitters complain. And even when we park the car on Ogden Place, she can't get in and out of Ogden Place because they're blocking the street, they're blocking our driveway, and my husband knows that the cars aren't able to make the left turn on LaFerge either, which was the point of the light. So I know it's a new light and that it just came on, but I'm really encouraging a traffic study or somebody. I haven't seen anybody there any of these times. I know people were there when they first turned it on. So I'm curious if there's being a study, if there's going to be one, when it's going to be in place, something like that, so that we can see what the real effect is. Because the concern is this is happening before the diversion from the bridge construction and before Rivertown Square is completed, which is just going to add more cars and traffic.
Yep.
Is somebody going to respond to me either now or at some point in the near future?
We did discuss this earlier.
We did discuss it.
Yeah, Phil Greeley has, who's the village traffic engineer expert, has been out, I'm just trying to see how many times. I think 2 times on February, 3 times. January 26th, February 2nd, and February 3rd to see how the lights were working. In his opinion, they're working well. I'm not putting words in his mouth, but that's how I read the memo that he indicated. So, I think we're going to continue to monitor. I think PD is going to continue to monitor it. And he will continue to monitor it, and if it's not working, he'll have to change the timing of the lights, but in their opinion, as a traffic engineer, it's working.
Yeah, but I mean, the question is when, I don't know if he said this in his memo, like what times is he coming? If he's coming at 11 a.m., I mean, yeah, it might be working fine because there's a lot less cars. At 5:30, they're blocking the whole street length, and it's hard to get in and out. And so, I mean, picking one day anecdotally isn't going to really be a study.
Is he looking at your movie?
I think he is, because he knows about the issue with Nicole, because I know they're, he's agreed that during the weather, when the weather comes, that to push it back, I think it's 8 feet further to the west, which may alleviate the problem of getting out of Fergie if there is one. I've anecdotally, I'm not a traffic engineer, I drove by today at 6 o'clock, it didn't seem to be a problem, but that's one day. We'll continue to work with Phil, with the board's approval, to have him come out during rush. What do you think the rush hour time is in the morning?
Yeah, what are the best
In the morning,
times?
it's really around probably 8:20 to 8:40 or 8:45.
I can come by too, I live
Yeah,
nearby, so I can check
when I
it
leave
out.
at 7:30, it's the same as it always was.
Yeah.
But
Well,
the concern is we're running into this problem and then, I don't know when the bridge is gonna start.
Yeah,
Next week or 2 weeks from now, who knows?
What I'll
but
do is
that's
I'll
gonna create
continue,
more havoc.
I'll continue to talk to Phil, have him out there. I mean, we can meet out either one day this week
Okay.
or early next week at 8:20, we can come out in the evening too.
And what are the
5:30,
evening times?
6?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
it
my
5:30
sister
or
usually
earlier?
comes at, she's picking up the car sometime around 5:20, 5:30,
So-
they're there.
So we'll
I'm
come
not
at
usually
that
there at
time
that
too.
time.
And we'll have a few different days, different times
Yeah.
with the police there to make sure that it's working right.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else for courtesy of the floor? Okay, thank you everybody for your comments, and we look forward to getting this resolved also, so.
Thank you.
Okay.
Give it a second. Let's wait till they leave.
Everybody.
Yeah, good job.
Actually, a lot of Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me, guys, if we can take all the conversations outside? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now we'll move on to matters requiring action. Darius, I'll let you kind of talk on this one a little bit. We are going to consider a resolution authorizing the village treasurer to enter into an IMA with the town of Greenberg for assessment functions for an amount not to exceed $10,000.
Sure. A few years back, probably about 5 years back, going into the history of the village had its own assessor We would work with the village assessor. I think he was paid $40,000. He would do the work with the Greenberg assessment role, but would work with us and the village attorney's office with all tax certiorari matters. Since that time, we've approached the town of Greenberg about using their assessor, Edie McCarthy, as sort of a joint sharing of services. They agreed to do that. We paid Ms. McCarthy, I think, $10,000 last year for her services to do the role and work with us in tax certiorari matters. It's been working well. It's been a savings for the village. We've spoken to the town again about doing that, and they've agreed to that at the same fee of $10,000. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Great. All right. Good, so I'd like to take a motion. Trustee O'Donnell, second trustee Flynn, any discussion? All in favor? That's the 6 ayes. All right, second, we would like to consider a motion to authorize the village treasurer to sign an agreement with Paylocity for payroll processing for an amount not to exceed $11,775, noting that this amount includes a one-time fee of $1,806 and that the annual fee thereafter will be approximately $9,969. Jeff, would you like to touch on that briefly, please?
Sure. This request stems from my desire and Betsy's desire to improve, the accuracy and efficiency of the payroll process. And we believe that this option would do that. We met with a representative from Paylocity. We talked to some of the surrounding municipalities that use Paylocity who are very happy with the product. And we feel that this would be an improvement to in the finance office. It would open up time from my staff to work on some things beyond what they're doing currently.
And will this also help us with, laws and regulations that are coming in with the Affordable Care Act?
Yeah, this will help with the Affordable Care Act. They take on the responsibility of paying the taxes, and they hold us harmless for the tax returns that they prepare. I think it's a win-win for.
Which those penalties can be quite substantial.
And currently, Jeff, we have anyone doing that, the payroll now, like an outside company?
Not an outside company.
Right.
We're doing it internally.
Okay.
All right, good. All right, I'd like to take a motion.
Yeah, can I ask one time? We did hire a consultant,
Yeah,
right?
To work on the Obamacare.
Yeah, and so this would eliminate the need?
They will take on the tracking for Obamacare.
Great, okay, good, because I think we're paying $10,000.
Yeah, the village attorney
Yes,
is going to look into that and the agreement that we have with that group.
Great.
Right, because we just signed that, right?
Yes. Great. Can I take a motion? Trustee Russillo, second. Trustee Corrales, all in favor? That's the 6 ayes. All right, we'd like to consider a resolution authorizing the Village of Dobbs Ferry's participation in the 2016 Village Officials Committee's project for pothole repair services with Patch Management, Inc., regarding the use of pothole filling machine for a cost not to exceed $3,792 for 2 days and $1,896 for each additional day. I believe we've done this before. We did this last year. The year before, it was very successful. It was very cost efficient, for the village to make absolutely necessary repair on our roads. And Betsy, I don't know if you have anything else to add to that, but.
This is in conjunction with the Village Officials Committee, so it's all of the villages in the town of Greenberg, a consortium per se. And they did it last year. It worked very well, and we're looking to do it again this year.
Another shared service, if you will.
It is.
Right, great. Like to take a motion? Trustee Cassell, second trustee Flynn, all in favor? Yes, 6 ayes. We'd also like to consider a home rule request asking the state legislator to adopt Assembly Bill A209-A, which would allow each municipality to impose a 3% hotel/motel occupancy tax. Now, we had done this once before. It was passed by ourselves, I believe, other neighboring villages, and Governor Cuomo vetoed the bill.
So it passed by the state legislature.
After it got passed by the state legislature, he vetoed it. So I think we're all taking another run at it.
Why are we doing it again?
Apparently, Assemblyman Abenante has requested that we again make the request, either try to get it past the legislature again, and hopefully Governor Cuomo will sign if it gets passed. I know he indicated that he wanted some sort of plan for.
Statewide
plan, yeah.
Okay.
So it may be a long shot, but.
We'll see.
So again, this is the villages in the town of Greenberg, that petition to Assemblyman Avenatti to move forward with this.
Right. We'll take a motion. Trustee Rosillo, second trustee Corrales. Any discussion? All in favor? 6-0. Number 5, we'd like to consider a motion to authorize the village administrator to sign an agreement with Millar Tree and Turf Specialists Corp. For geese control and containment at the waterfront park not to exceed $15,000. Betsy, would you like to just touch on that a little bit, please?
Certainly. Myself, Gary Gardner, and Matt Arone met with this gentleman from Millar. He specializes in geese removal and containment. What he basically told us was that the geese nest in February, so this is the time when we really need to move forward with this. Once the geese are there and they nest, we're stuck with them, basically until next August. So he explained how he does this, and it's a step process. There's several steps involved in it, and he would look to begin at the end of the month. There's a spray involved, there's some flashing lights that are involved, some tactile, some plastic that's put down that the geese don't like to walk on. All said and done, it's going to cost between $12,000 and $15,000 for the year. So that money has also been budgeted.
And all of that's non-toxic. I mean,
It was all
it's-
non-toxic.
yeah, not gonna hurt the dogs or.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know the Wildlife Committee looked at this problem, periodically also, and it does have to be done now before they start nesting, or we're done. And it does have to be multi-step. One thing is not gonna work. So, I mean, as long as we've got, nothing is 100%, they even, I think in their things, that's not 100%, because geese fly. The Hudson River is a flyway, you will get visiting geese. So, nothing is 100%, but if we have the money and we're budgeted for it, it's worth a shot, because what's going on down there is horrific. You can't
Well,
walk,
never
you
mind,
can't
it
do
also
anything.
takes up a lot of time from Gary's group.
Exactly,
To
yeah, that
constantly
too,
monitor
yeah.
and clean that, and they've done a great job, in doing so, but it is tough to keep up with, because the geese can be very sporadic. Okay, like to take a motion?
The resident-only parking permit won't work down there?
Probably not. Trustee O'Donnell, second. Trustee Corrales, any discussion? All in favor? 6 ayes.
Do we have that in the amount not to exceed 15?
Yes, I
Okay,
did put
good,
that
sorry.
No, I was wondering with those visiting geese, we could charge them 3%
We should
occupancy.
Or non-resident commuter, maybe.
One of the above, at least, generate some revenue. Number 6, consider a motion to approve a request from the Dobbs Ferry PTSA to post signs at the corner of Cedar and Broadway and at the Ashford Avenue Island for their used book sale from February 22nd, 2016 to March 5th, 2016. Any issues with this, Steve? No? Take a motion. Trustee O'Donnell, second trustee Flynn, all in favor? Great. This is gonna be a tough one.
I know, I'm not sure we can approve the next.
Consider a request from the Dobbs Ferry Girl Scout Troop, 1682 and 2345, to sell cookies at the train station on Tuesday, March 15th, 2016, and Friday, March 18th, 2016, from 4:30 PM to 7:30 PM. Do I have a motion? Trustee Cassell, second trustee O'Donnell, all in favor? 6 ayes. Okay. All right, let's get to the minutes from last meeting. Anybody have anything on here?
I think there's there's a typo on page 5, where instead of registering Deputy Mayor Golio's I, it just got deleted.
Where is that? I'm sorry.
Page 5
Oh, yeah.
in the chart.
Oh, in the chart, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice catch.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else, anybody? Nope. Okay, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes from January 12th, 2016. Trustee Cassell, second trustee Flynn, all in favor?
I have to abstain because I left halfway through the meeting.
Right, 5 ayes on that. Trustee O'Donnell had to abstain. Okay, any reports? Bill?
No.
Donna?
Yeah, the library board met and welcomed Ned as the interim library director now that Jeff is relaxing in sunny Florida. We're all thinking of going to visit him. And they continue to try and work their way through the civil service routines as to when is the right time to get the list. It's really a convoluted system, but they're working at it. So that's happening to find a new library director. Beyond that, they're awaiting the plaque to put up to honor Jeff within the library. I also had a short part of a meeting with the SAC, the Senior Advisory Council at Embassy Center. Basically, they're trying to, what a surprise, work on parking issues. So they're trying to work on that. Matarone was going to bring a couple of options through the system, and I don't know where that stands as of now, because I also had to leave that meeting early. But
great, thank you. Trustee Corrales?
Nothing for me, thanks.
Nothing for me.
Solid, great. Just a couple quick things. As everybody probably knows, or maybe does not know, we do have a newly formed chamber again that has become pretty active. And they are out soliciting membership. The membership fee before March 1st is $35 for any of the businesses to join. You can go to www.dfchamber.com for more information, or send an email to info@dfchamber.com for more information. And just to note that there is they have an informal gathering tomorrow, Wednesday, February 10th, at Hudson Social at 7 p.m. So if you're available, you'd like to come down and meet some of the business owners, and hopefully some of the business owners out there listening that have not participated yet, this is a chance for you to come down and talk in an informal atmosphere about issues that you may have or not have in joining the chamber and moving forward. So thank you for that. And just so you guys know, we received a very nice note from Kevin McLaren, Mumsy's nurse. And it was just very nice. And basically she wrote, "Thank you so very much for all you did for Kevin McLaren regarding his health insurance. The outcome is amazing and exactly what was needed. Thank you for your time and thoughtfulness. It is greatly appreciated." So, very nice thing, and well-deserved for him. Being that there's...
About parking permits, recreation permits and central business district parking permits go on sale Saturday. This Saturday, 9 a.m. in the lobby at 112 Main Street.
Great.
There are also some commuter spots left.
Super. And Bill, great prayer. Actually, you stole a little of my thunder, but that was great. But I did want to close tonight's meeting in honor of Judy Konowich, and with his no other business. Over.